Hi, this is Shamel, and now that we are definitely in the swing of things for December, I've been working on my journal and I will be bringing you a series of videos showing you different things throughout the month. And today I wanted to focus on a few things that are working for me, a little different than perhaps what you would expect, or maybe exactly what you would expect. So, a few different things. As my album looks right now, I've shown you the cover before. And then I have my pages inside. I did go ahead and add some little dividing pages that came as a set from Studio Calico. I haven't added anything onto them yet, and I'm thinking that once I have most or all of the project done, then I'll go back and add some decorative elements and subtitles and things like that. For right now, they just work well as having a few dividers to kind of help me gauge how far through the book I am. So you'd seen this page at the very beginning with my manifesto, and this page with my first signs journaling, and then things start to look like this. I basically did this part of the process in a few different steps. I had this overlay with the doilies and the rhinestones, and I wanted to spread it throughout the book as well as I could. So I decided I would cut it into pieces that fit in these pockets, and then I just randomly placed it in those pockets throughout the whole book. So it's not on every single one, but on quite a few of the times where I have the small pockets, there's one square is filled with that transparency. And I won't add anything else to it. It just is a lovely little element. I like how it lets you see the next part of the album and things like that. So there's quite a few of those. I also cut out all of the star in a circle numbers that I had from the Jenny Bolin printed paper. And the numbers on that set go from 1 to 24. So I'm using those on all those dates from 1 to 24, but then I also have some other numbers that I'm duplicating once I get past 6, and this will make sense in a minute. So the first 6 just have the star in a circle. When I get up to 7, I have both the star in the circle and a number from an LA Studio cut apart sheet, which just has all the different numbers. And the LA Studio set goes 1 to 31 because it's designed to be used with a December daily setup where you might have an entry for every single day in December. I have an entry from the 1st to the 31st of December plus the 1st or the 6th of January. So I'm using the 1 through 6 from the LA Studio to come in at the end, and I'll be using those in January, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, I hope that makes a little sense. So that's what I'm doing with page numbers. And I've started with just a few that I've finished the whole card. So I had a look to see, I punched them. I had a punch that was the right size to punch them out from the sheet. Then I looked to see what different dies I had to layer behind. So I've got a plain circle and a pinked circle. And I think I'll use that on some of them, but not all of them. And then I've also started using 2 colors of Post-it notes for my notes. So I have just very simple yellow and white Post-its that I cut into smaller pieces to leave myself notes for things, and they're color-coded. White means print out something or include something, anything it is that's not a photo. So here the white is to print out a series of tweets or Facebook updates that I did while I was trimming my tree. And then when I get to one that's yellow, yellow is always a photo that needs to be printed and included. So sometimes I know exactly what picture I want to put there, but I don't have it printed yet, and I just leave myself a note so that I don't forget in the process and go back and add embellishment there. And because I really don't enjoy the computer part as much, so I try to make it as efficient as possible. So I will stock up a few different print this photo, and then I'll print them all at once. So that really helps. Now, what you're starting to see here is that basically I keep a separate notebook that's just for me. And every day at the end of the day I sit down and it's not always at the end of the day, but at some point during the day I sit down and I just write on that topic. And some of it I will include in my book, and some of it is kind of excess and I don't include it. It's just my space to write. And I do that most of the year, not every single day like you do in December, but I keep a journal where I write a lot. So I tend to just rough draft everything in there, and then I bring it to my journal in a format where I'm happy to share it with the public, and anybody who were to walk into my house, I'm really happy for them to pick up the book and look. So that's why you'll see things at this point are kind of in a little state of flux, where I've written some things on some pages. So these have entries where I've decided what I'm going to keep from that original journal entry and include it here. But then I also have some gaps where I know I want to include more from this story, but I haven't decided which bits yet, so I'm just leaving a space. And then I have different blocks that sometimes will be for photos and sometimes will be for embellishment. So sometimes I just wanted to include something that was simple. I liked the gold shimmer on the snowflake, and because this was the planning entry, I wanted to include that paper that has all the different days of the week to kind of suggest the idea of planning things and plotting them on the calendar. And I included a 4x6 photo of something that was relevant to the plans and a smaller photo of when I was actually planning things, and this was me getting things together and trying to figure out how I wanted to set the table. So different little bits that are coming into place, but I don't ever sit down and think I must finish every single little piece of this entry before the day is done. I'm quite happy to have that gap there. I'm quite happy to still have this little piece that I want to print out something and include it there. But I have done some other kind of planning ahead. I went through, and when I last showed you this book, I had already cut the craft and white cardstock to the 6x8 page sizes and plotted those all into the page protectors. Well, I did a little bit more on that idea, and I took all of the pattern papers that I'd pulled out to use in my album, and I cut 3 pieces from each of them, one 4x6 and then 2 3x4. So basically I cut 4 inches of the paper and put the rest aside, and then cut that in half and half again. So that gave me 3 pieces, one 4x6 and then one for each of these 2 windows. So then I just plotted through and put them in all these pockets so that then when I get to each day, I don't have to make those decisions. I sat down and did that all in one session and just really enjoyed putting the papers together in different combinations that I liked, making a few little adjustments here and there. For example, this photo has a lot of pink, so I went ahead and decided anything that was in my kit that was pink was going to go here. So I pulled it all out and mixed it all in, and I have this all ready to go. And here you can see the other thing that I started to do. Once I'd put all those papers in the pockets, I started taking all the embellishments. I cut the sticker sheets apart, I cut different elements into different pieces, and I started putting them in pockets throughout the whole book. And that means that I can sit down with this book and just have my basic toolkit, and I can still do lots of layering and all sorts of things like that. And it also means that I won't get to about the 23rd of December and run out of embellishments and not have anything to go around. So I've included the date is already there in every page all the way through the album. I've done all the little paper pockets, and it's okay if I decide, okay, this isn't going to be a piece of paper, this is going to be a photo. I'm quite happy to take that out and put it elsewhere. And I have a few extra page protectors at the back because I know there will be things that aren't exactly to the prompts that I'll want to include in this year's book. So I'll just, at the moment, those extras live at the back, and then I'll slot them in as they feel relevant to the story. So some of these entries just have things plotted through so that at this point I know on this day I'm talking about winter weather. I've taken the photos that show things that are wintry, the frost and the snow and the random fox who cries at my back door, and just kind of spread things out. So at this point we haven't gotten to this entry as I'm filming this yet, so now things start to be a little less planned. So I have just kind of some random photos that might apply, and all of these papers and the date cards just ready to go. And that is done all the way through. So all of these are all ready with all sorts of different bits and pieces of paper. But these are the entries that I'm working on transferring from my journal to from my just rough draft journal to my Christmas journal. So each one will start to come together just a panel at a time, and sometimes I'll take just that panel, but because the book is quite small, I can really just take the whole thing and my basic tools and sit somewhere else in the house, or take it to coffee if I need to kind of waste some time in between 2 other appointments or anything like that. And that's how I'm working on this at the moment. So the other thing I wanted to show you was how I'm keeping my supplies. So what's not already pocketed in here in the page protectors is all in this crop bag, which is kind of it must be about 14 by 14, I suppose. And it has a zip at the top. And everything is in here. This is everything that I can choose from, and I don't go back to my bigger stash and look for other supplies. There might be tools that I need, so if I decide, oh, I really need a punch or I really need a die, then I'll go back for that. But all the stamps that I'm going to use, all the stickers, all the papers, everything is in here. And when it's not uber messy, I can zip it closed, and then it has a handle at the top. So I can just add my pens, my adhesive, and my scissors, and my all-important Post-it notes, and then I'm ready to go. So that is how I'm keeping everything. It looks ridiculously messy because I do have a habit of sitting down at the table and just dumping the whole thing out and spreading it all out in front of me so that then I can see what I have and add bits and pieces as I go. And so that's where I am at this point, and then I'll be showing you a few different videos throughout this week of finishing more of the individual entries so that you'll see how this process works, and a couple little technique videos on how to do a few different embellishments that I have planned for my book. So right now I have a lot of writing and things to sift onto my pages, and I just wanted to show you that and give you a little bit of confidence in case you thought that everybody has to have a full complete entry every single day. That's definitely not a rule. You definitely can create at your pace and as many entries as you want, and it could be just a few or it could be plenty, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with getting started now, and we have plenty of time, and there's never any end date, so you can take as long as you want. Thanks for stopping by today, and I will talk to you very, very soon with more video.